What's going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar, and welcome to the start of the TBL, the Team Battling League. I am here with my partner, Monotui.
Hi, I thought you were gonna say co-host, but I accidentally mixed up the words. He's gonna call me a ho-host, but that works too. Hi everyone, I'm Monotui. I do draft league things.
Are you sure you do draft league things? Because I don't know if you can prove that, actually.
I do a few draft league things. Haha, I said doo doo. Let's get into our team and stop what's going on right now.
Okay, so first off, let's talk about how drafting worked. It was pretty much just like your standard tiering draft, except we're not allowing Dynamax or Gigantamax because that shit is busted. Should never be
Literally,
allowed. So,
no, there's no way to make it balance. They
no,
literally you make tier 5 Pokemon D-Max still broken.
yeah,
Just
then you get a Kingler getting 24 kills in a season. It's impossible to make Dynamax balance. So what I decided was we were going to have no Dynamax, no Gigantamax, no nothing, and instead to still get the 11 points or the 11 Pokemon that you can have, you're going to have a tier 1, a tier 2, two tier 3s, two tier 4s, and then 400 free points to spend however you want. Now what this means is you have no ability to gain or subtract free points. So if you wanted to, you could get 4 tier 3s for your free Pokemon. So it kind of sort of allows for a little bit more freedom, which I kind of like. There were a few Pokemon that we both wanted in this draft. One was Sirfetch'd, because Sirfetch'd is just stupid.
yeah. You use that in what WB?
Yeah, I used it in WBE, and it literally just broke through so many teams. It's just unfortunate. Luck broke through me. So I think I'll let you talk about this first Pokemon because you're the one that decided on it and you're the one that brought it up first.
Okay. Well, we had a couple different draft plans, and we just kept throwing out mons that we really wanted. And then I brought up this boy. It's going to be Cinderace, which is a very cool dude. Obviously, Liberio's not available yet, and even if it was, it would more than likely be banned because it would be disgusting. But even just regular Blaze Cinderace is really solid. It really benefits from the new item Heavy Duty Boots. Just being immune to rocks and webs are huge. And it gets Court Change, which is probably one of the coolest new moves that they've introduced into a Pokemon game. Just being able to swap hazards, not even just removal, but making your opponent think maybe I shouldn't hazard stack because they can just get it all up on my side. Excuse me, ESPN, this is not the time. Thank you. Uh, there aren't even sports going on. Come on. But anyway, Cinderace, great speed tier, hits really hard with a very good base 120 Pyro Ball that obviously doesn't take the recoil like Flare Blitz would, but it does have the chance to miss, so I'll be clicking that so Kelly doesn't screw us over.
Thank you.
It also, yep, absolutely, you're welcome. I know you appreciated it.
It also
Has
has high jump
the
kick and gunk shot, which will both miss every single time that I click it.
absolutely, but Pyro Ball's animation is really cool, so you can clickbait that stuff, which is most important. Is there anything else? It also gets initiative with U-turn. You can also run sort of like a support set with Court Change and even something like Super Fang. If a bulky water wants to switch in, Super Fang it, taunt it afterwards. Now it's at half health for the rest of your team to deal with, which is really nice. And yeah, I love offensive fire types. They've always been hindered in previous generations by things like Stealth Rock, and this generation we don't necessarily need to worry about it because of heavy duty boots. Priority, strong, kind of sneakily bulky, fast. That's all I got. Your turn.
So the other big thing that we went into thinking this is we both hate hazard removal, so Court Change was a really big thing for both of us because since we both hate hazard removal so much, being able to use it on something like Cinderace that doesn't get hindered by hazards itself is also really, really nice. But it pretty much forces bulky waters to come. And with us also knowing that we wanted to have Sirfetch'd, it means that they're going to also have to bring a bulky fairy or a bulky psychic to try to switch into both of them. So it kind of makes our opponent's team a little bit easier to predict. And something that I think we'll talk about here in a little bit is that it also pressures bulky steals really, really easily, having both the fire spam and the fighting spam from this. So that's really, really cool. But initiative is also really nice. You're going to see that we wanted a lot of that as well. I'll talk about these next two because they're my two favorite Pokemon in Draft League format as of right now. So we wanted to get Celebi because it is a Stealth Rocker that gets pivoting. It also gets access to Healing Wish, Aura Sphere. It gets Baton Pass. It has a lot of really good momentum gaining moves, as well as being able to be a setup sweeper that's really scary. So as we said, Cinderace is going to pressure bulky waters and force them to come pretty much every time. So having something with natural cure so we can switch in on Scalds pretty much indefinitely. There's no signal beam in the game, so we can switch in to electric types. We can do so much with Celebi as a bulky pivot to where I think it'll actually catch people off guard whenever we bring it offensively. This is a super, super, super cool mon, and it also gets access to Heal Bell. So we have a couple really good clerics on here, and ultimately, I wanted to have a grass type that was also able to recover, not do synthesis because of sand and rain teams. I think that's pretty important. And bulky / offensive psychic type is really cool to pair with Cinderace since it pressures bulky steel so much. A setup psychic type could be really nice. And then to pair with this to finish off the fire water grass core, we got the best bulky water type in the entire game, which is Vaporeon. So the whole idea behind Vaporeon was Cinderace and Celebi kind of sort of struggle on getting chipped down pretty easily, especially if Celebi can't recover easily. So what we wanted to have was we wanted to have really reliable Wish Pass to also go into a bunch of other Pokemon that we wanted to have because they're not going to have the best recovery. And Vaporeon sends off some of the fattest wishes I think I've ever seen aside from Alomomola, which is awesome. Also, we're doing this at level 100, so if we run like max HP, we're going to be sending off nice like 232 wishes to something like Cinderace, which that's almost all its health if you don't run a lot of bulk in the HP. So very, very cool. Water immunity for Dracovish too, really important.
Yep, very important, even though it's only one mon. The first three picks that we picked up all have initiative. Cinderace, Celebi have U-turn, and Vaporeon and Celebi both have Baton Pass. I think we're just allowing what, just Dry Pass?
Yes.
Yeah, so just Dry Pass. Another nice little kind of sneaky buff that they gave Celebi this generation is that they removed Hidden Power and Signal Beam from the game. So there's a lot of different things that used to be able to hit, have coverage for Celebi that no longer exist, which is really nice. Obviously, Signal Beam, 4 times super effective, would kind of deal with Celebi. Vaporeon being able to wish to all of our bulk and whatnot is also super nice. If we're not running Recover on Celebi, we can wish up to it. Same thing with Cinderace. 2 great mons. Then we have a really nice Fire Water Grass right off the bat.
And I think what a little bit more importantly than just having the Wish Pass with this is having the really good Scald switch-ins. Like, you're going to see that our team is generally a little weak to Scald in certain aspects because we're going to have, we are getting Sirfetch'd. Like, that's the one Pokemon that we went into this saying that we wanted. So, Sirfetch'd, we have Cinderace. There's a few others that really hate switching into Scald. So, having 2 really good Scald switch-ins is super, 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 super important. Do you want to talk about the next mon?
I can talk about the next mon, and that is going to be our fairy, which is very important. This is also a mon we talked about both wanting. It's new fairy.
It's not the fairy. It's the dragon.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going in order of the tiers that we did the things.
Oh,
whatever.
no, in order of picking.
All right, so dragon next. That is going to be a Gen 8 new mon, Duraludon. Steel Dragon, good physical defense, decent speed, very good special attack, usable attack. Only lacking stat is obviously special defense, but the typing is good enough where it can switch into Thunderbolts. It's a dragon that takes ice neutrally, which is really nice. This is going to be our first Stealth Rocker, which is really nice.
Second, we have Celebi.
All right, he's a grass fairy boy that throws rocks around. That's right, I forgot about that. Duraludon, second Stealth Rocker. Like I said, decently bulky, hits very hard as well. Steel Dragon is incredible stabs to have because obviously you're a dragon that deals directly with fairy types, which is really nice. Our team isn't particularly fairy weak, but having something that can threaten the really powerful fairies, some of which are the best in the game, like Grimmsnarl, Fable, Sylveon, things like that, is really, really nice. Just a very solid overall boy. Can run it fat with like T-Wave and Stealth Rock and just support the rest of the team, or you can run it like Specs, Life Orb, offensive, just to drop really powerful Dracos, hit things with really powerful flash cannons. does a lot of cool things, and we both wanted to use it. We have experience using it in VGC, and we want to use it in singles too.
Yeah. So this is also a steel dragon that is also able to pressure bulky water types really easily with Thunderbolt because it hits extremely hard with base 120 special attack. So it's able to pressure those bulky water types. So what we can do is we can U-turn with Cinderace, go into Celebi and set up on the bulky waters, or we can drop in Duraludon and then click like Life Orb or Specs Thunderbolt, and it's gonna have a hard time switching in because grounds aren't gonna want to take like Dracos or Flash Cannons, anything like that. But this also does have dual screens, which is pretty cool. So I really like this Pokemon, and I think that it'll be a decent breaker to go along with the physical breakers that we're also going to get. And I don't know. I just think like these together are really, really cool. And then next we can talk about the fairy, and we can talk about that one together because we both wanted to try this. This Pokemon is super, super cool. So we picked Alcremie as our fairy type for a few reasons. One, it's a new Pokemon, and we wanted to use a handful of new Pokemon in this league just because, clickbait and views. But secondly, this Pokemon gets access to Acid Armor, Recover, Calm Mind, it gets access to Stored Power, it gets access to a ton of setup. It gets access to really good utility and Encore, but what really stands out to me is just its coverage overall is really, really nice. Like Fairy, Grass, Psychic, it gets Mystical Fire, so it gets fire coverage. It hits really, really hard, and I think that that's pretty cool. It also gets access to Fake Tear, so it's able to lower your target's SPDEF by 2 stages. And then if you don't want to run Recover, it can have access to Draining Kiss, so you can run like Fake Tears, Draining Kiss, Calm Mind, Iron Defense, or Acid Armor, I'm sorry. Like it has a lot of really, really, really cool stuff that it can do, and I like that a lot. It also gives us a nice little cleric that can't pivot. So we have 3 pivoting mons and then 2 non-pivoting mons, which is kind of nice. Alcremie gives us a nice bulky Pokemon that we can Wish Pass into from Vaporeon that has massive HP stat. It's passing off 232s, whereas like that's almost all of this boy's HP as well. So by not being able to baton pass or pivot with this, it means that we can get nice switch initiative. We can try to take advantage of people trying to switch into our fairy stab. It's a very cool Pokemon, and base 110 special attack is nothing to laugh at. It's super, super nice. If you look, all of our Pokemon are like decently strong in something. Like Celebi's our weakest Pokemon offensively with base 100s all around. So nice little bulky offensive team so far.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Alcremie, not only for the setup options that it has, obviously with Acid Armor and Calm Mind, but it's also a cleric and, like you said, as well, setup sweeper that cannot be taunted because it has Aroma Veil, which is a super underrated ability. Being unable to taunt or encore just means that you're not able to stop the sweep a lot of the time, which is excellent. Like you said, it does get access to Stored Power, which will be able to hit potential poison types that want to come in if I'm set up enough. It has access to Giga Drain and Energy Ball, Draining Kiss for a little bit more recovery and other grass coverage. Super nice mon. Really supports the team well.
Yeah.
And offers the fairy typing, which is always very important in draft.
Yeah, I think that our Dragon Fairy Steel Core with just these 2 mons is really, really cool. Fire Water Grass Core is really, really cool. And now we can go ahead and talk about the boy Sirfetch'd and why we wanted Sirfetch'd. So do you see this stat right here? It hits really, really hard. Did you say no? I hate you. It hits really, really hard, being like adamant, close combat. It gets amazing coverage moves in Brave Bird, First Impression, having access to Leak to crit things, Poison Jab. It gets so much. Leaf Blade, knockoff. There is nothing. I can't think of a single thing that wants to take 2 hits from this Pokemon.
Nope.
Like
literally like nothing.
Like
Crest
if
isn't
we
in
get
the game anymore. What else? I don't even know anything else.
Even if it
Crest
was,
would
I
be,
feel
the
like it
only
wouldn't
thing
want to take
potentially.
2 X Scissors.
Probably not, especially with Leak and the crits.
It doesn't get X-Scissor, never mind. I'm stupid.
That's unfortunate. That's fine, but it's okay. It's a monster. It's a demon.
Yeah, it breaks down everything, which means that the second that we have like a bulky water, a bulky psychic, a bulky fairy, like literally anything, we have the offense to take advantage of whatever typing we eliminate with Sirfetch'd. And that's kind of what I was appealed to with Sirfetch'd to begin with, was that it's a 1-for-1 Pokemon. It's a I will take one of yours and then I can Wish Pass around to try to get Sirfetch'd up. Typically, if you don't have as good Wish Pass with Vaporeon or Healing Wish with Celebi, it's a I kill something with Sirfetch'd, you kill something of mine, and then I take advantage of what I just killed. But like with us, we have really good Wish support, Healing Wish. It's going to be we kill something and then we keep Sirfetch'd around and hopefully get it healthy again later. And I love this Pokemon. So freaking cool. I wish it got U-turn, but you know what? Not the end of the world. I feel like if it got U-turn, it would just be, man, you couldn't predict versus this thing. You would just have to sack something off every time, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you can't even predict and go into your ghost type because it's scrappy.
Yeah.
And like things like Aegislash, nope, dead. Gengar resist, dead. It doesn't matter what you send in. Close combat's going to hit something really hard unless it's a very bulky fairy, essentially, that switches into fighting types. And even then, you're risking the poison jab coming in, which if we're leak, we can switch it up and go for a crit poison jab, and that'll do a ton of damage.
Yep.
It's really bulky as well. After CC, it can still live some hits. Before the CC, it's very difficult to OHKO without super effective coverage. Like you said, gets first impression priority. We have T-Wave on Celebi. And we have Heal Bell, so if it gets burnt, we can deal with that. We support this mon really well with nice initiative into big, powerful Birdie Boy.
Yeah, and you're going to see that we have decent switch-ins to what hits it super effectively in Fairy as well as Psychic. You're going to see that we have decent switch-ins to that. Fairy, there aren't that many super offensive fairies in the game right now. Like Clef can run offensively, Sylveon can be offensive, and then Gardevoir can be offensive, but aside from that, it's pretty much just bulky fairies. It's like Vaporeon, Celebi, Alcremie can pretty much switch into those, and then Psychic types, we have Celebi plus a couple later round picks that we're going to go over.
Absolutely.
So, after Sirfetch'd, Mono and I were in call, and we were like, hey, why not get another physical breaker to just pressure literally everything? And I think that's what we did.
Yeah. So this mon, assuming this is the one I'm talking about and I don't look like a goofball, is also a mon that I have had as a reference to my channel for forever and have never used in a draft ever. And that's going to be Diggersby. Yeah, it's a very fun Pokemon for sure. Also gets U-turn initiative, which is going to be really nice. Also pretty versatile in the things that it can do. Can run Band, Scarf, can also be set up. We do have screens options, could potentially abuse that. Even if we don't abuse screens, it has a pretty good typing. So, if you're locked into a Ghost or Electric move, we'll be able to get up a Swords Dance or potentially an Agility. Move Pool, also fantastic. It loses Return and Frustration, which is a little bit unfortunately. A little unfortunately. It's a little unfortunate because it did get kind of nerfed in that regard, but it does still have access to a very powerful Body Slam, which doesn't do as much damage but can paralyze things, which is pretty important. It also has Facade if we were to be expecting to be statused at any point. Huge power, hits insanely hard. If we want to get super cheeky, I did not mean to do this pun, but if we want to get super cheeky, we could run Cheek Pouch.
My
some
God,
sort of
I
didn't mean to do it. I'm sorry. It does get recycled, so that's a set that could be used at some point, maybe. I don't know, probably not.
I kind of sort of tuned you out, but did you mention Spikes yet?
I did not mention Spikes yet. But it does get Spikes as well.
Yeah.
So that's Spiky Boy for us. Hazards, not fat, but strong as hell, priority. You go.
And this is kind of sort of where I was talking about like being weak to Scald. Like Sirfetch'd, Diggersby, Cinderace don't really want to switch into Scald. So having Celebi plus Vaporeon is really, really nice for Scald switch-ins. And it now, like, Diggersby, it pretty much forces some of the fattest Pokemon in the game to come and try to switch into it, and typically they don't want to switch into Sirfetch'd. So like Diggersby, like they might have a Corviknight, for example. Well, if we're U-turn, we drop in Cinderace, we drop in Duraludon, we drop in our electric type that we get later on, and then we can kind of sort of pivot around it that way. We can pressure it, or we just click like Banded Fire Punch and beat it that way, or Sirfetch'd with close combat. And I think that uh Corviknight's like one of the few Pokemon that like actually switches into Diggersby, Sirfetch'd together.
And I mean, even then, like you said, like Life Orb, Banded Fire Punch, or Wild Charge is gonna 2 KO that thing. So
Yeah.
if we make one good prediction on it, it can't switch in on Sirfetch'd, or it can't switch in on any of our other Pokemon, really.
Yeah. And I think that just having this overwhelming offense with Diggersby, Sirfetch'd, Duraludon, and Cinderace is really, really nice. I like it a lot. Now we're getting into this Pokemon you can talk about because it's pretty one-dimensional.
Which one is it? Is that one?
The Pokemon after Diggersby.
The one hand. Where
It's
I have
Accelgor. It's Accelgor.
It's Accelgor. I remembered that all on my own. Now, we do have Diggersby for spikes, but it's not the most reliable spike setter. Like, we'd usually rather be clicking hurdy buttons than spikes with Diggersby. But Accelgor is an excellent lead, very, very fast, obviously with Unburden as well. So if we go down to our Focus Sash, we'll more than likely get up a spike plus maybe a T-spike or another layer of spikes or an attack. It's surprisingly good offensively. Like, I think it only has like 100 special attack, but its move pool is pretty solid. Stab Bug Buzz is nice. Focus Blast hits the steel types. The Bug Buzz resist. Sludge Bomb for the fairies.
Which, by the
Also
way,
has
you're going to be the
access.
one clicking Focus Blast because
Yes, I'll be the one. I'll be the one. Don't you worry. I'll take care of that for us. Don't worry. Like I said, it did gain T-Spikes last generation, which is fantastic. It like I said, it works well offensively. It does get U-turn initiative as well, which kind of fits the theme of this team. Pretty one-dimensional, but it also has a little bit of the surprise factor with Final Gambit straps as well. Just get up a spike as they switch. Final Gambit, kill something, or just lead with it. Click Final Gambit, get rid of a potential threat versus your team, and play a 5v5 from there in your favor. So fun mon, really fast as well. Outspeeds a lot of different Scarfers. And yeah, it's Slowcore, super fast bug boy.
Yeah, we pretty much just wanted hazards. Like, we noticed we had 2 stealth rockers and a bad spiker, so we wanted a good spiker. That's the only reason why I cared about it. I'm going to talk about this next boy. We're going to be tap dancing our way to victory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited for this Pokemon. So,
I'm glad one of us is.
What do you mean? This Pokemon's going to be great. Okay, so this Pokemon, I wanted it for a couple different reasons. Over its pre-evolution, I wanted Mr. Rime over Mr. Mime because it gets access to Slack Off, which means that I'm able to reliably heal up against like bulky waters, for example. It gets access to Rapid Spin, and I can run Heavy Duty Boots on this thing without having to worry about running a Violite, so it's a more reliable Rapid Spinner, and it's a Rapid Spinner that most Ghost types don't want to switch into it, because a lot of the Ghost types in this gen aren't going to want to take its stab. So for example, we have Gengar doesn't want to take Psychic, Dragapult doesn't want to take Ice, Runerigus doesn't want to take Ice, Delmise doesn't want to take Ice. I'm trying to think of other ghosty boys.
Obviously, Gengar and Haunter, if you didn't mention them, don't want to take Psychic.
Yeah, like, I think, I'm pretty positive it gets knockoff for Galarian Corsola, Dusclops, knockoff, Ice. Like, if you just go down the list, nothing really wants to switch into. Jellicent doesn't want to take Freeze Dry. Like, offensively, it prevents a lot of spin blockers from being able to reliably spin block. And with base 110 special attack, it's able to rapid spin up, get a +1 speed boost, and with decent coverage, be able to just kind of sort of break through opponents' teams if necessary. And as I mentioned before, it does get Baton Pass to keep up with the initiative of the team that I wanted. I pretty much had to sell mono on this team, on this Pokemon, which I'm happy about because I think it's a really cool Pokemon. Has access to Taunt too, which is really cool.
It does get access to Taunt, it gets access to Nasty Plot. It's honestly not like this. It's honestly not a bad Pokemon. I'm a little discouraged with the 70 speed just because the defensive typing is a little bit poor. But there are definitely some teams where it'll be able to hit pretty hard. I love freeze dry users in general, and this is a pretty strong one. 70 base power move that hits bulky water types super effectively. Also very, very nice. You know, especially since most of the bulky waters we're going to outspeed and aren't going to be able to do a ton of damage to us because we do have decent SPDF on this thing. Nasty plot plus freeze dry, get rid of the bulky waters, let Cinderace run a train on their team. Does spin, which is very nice, as Kelly mentioned earlier. Obviously takes advantage of heavy duty boots, so it doesn't take the 25% from rocks. Like he said as well, ghost types don't really want to switch in on us all that often. Runerigus, Cofagrigus, Haunter, Gengar all get hit very hard by Ice Beam / Psychic. So honestly, not a terrible Pokemon whatsoever. Bulky enough to do things. Definitely can set up in certain people's faces. And versus slower teams, they could potentially even wall break, which is really nice.
Yeah. And something else that I think is really, really cool about this Pokemon that I don't know if I mentioned to you, Mono, it
Yeah,
does have access to Double Dance, which is
it
pretty
does.
cool. Like, it gets Iron Defense, Calm Mind. So, like,
Oh, that's very cool.
yeah, like Iron Defense, Calm Mind into, I think it does get Stored Power, right? It does get Stored
It
Power.
does. All right, there you go.
So,
And it doesn't
like,
get slack off, so there is a possibility we could build some sort of a bulky variant that can take on opponents' teams with stored power and whatnot. That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
We also do have T-Wave spam with, like, Celebi and Duraludon.
Yeah, that's true. We have a lot of different things with T-Wave, which is nice because not only are para hacks fun, but also slows things down for Sirfetch'd and Diggersby, which could be really nice.
Yep. But I love this Pokemon. It was whenever we originally were talking, like I was like, okay, one Pokemon we need to have is Sirfetch'd. I would love to try out Alcremie, and then I want Mr. Rime. Those are the only things I really cared about.
Hmm.
So next up is a Pokemon that neither one of us really noticed during the draft itself. It wasn't until like right before we were about to pick that we're like, hey, we don't have either one of these typings, and this Pokemon is still here. Let's
Mm.
get it.
So, this Mon, it kind of started off this generation as a meme because this generation's Pikachu clone, but it actually hits very hard and is its own. It kind of has the same thing that what's it called? That Como. It's not as good as Como last gen, but it has the same thing that Como had last gen, where it would set up itself to sweep while also throwing out an attack that would boost its stats, and that's going to be Morpeko. Now I know you're wondering, why would you ever make that comparison? This is a stupid mouse, and that's a large dragon boy that destroys my entire life. Well, Oral Wheel, despite having only mid to high 90s attack, base 110 stab, which is really, really nice, and it changes typing depending on the form, which alternates each turn, which is really nice because then you don't need to run extra coverage. You know, you don't need to run electric and dark coverage. You can run one, or you can run just the Oral Wheel. Click protect if you need to change your typing. It also gets access to initiative, one of the better initiative moves in parting shot, which is really nice. You parting shot out into something like Sirfetch'd, it doesn't get 2 KO'd. You destroy something with Sirfetch'd, really nice. Also another rapid spinner, which is really good, boosted speed. If I didn't mention earlier, Aura Wheel also boosts your speed, which means you can run at him a lot of time, hit opposing Pokemon even harder. Plus, obviously, boosting your speed while attacking is really nice. They go to sack something off, you kill it, get a speed boost. Now their Revenge Killer doesn't outspeed you, you get damage off onto it. Fun little Mon. Very, very frail, obviously. We're not switching this into basically any hit, but it definitely has some sweeping potential, and it's definitely a lot of fun. We also wanted a Dark type because psychic sweepers are a little bit scary. You know, we don't want to
Yeah.
get sword power swept and whatnot. Electric types aren't as necessary this generation, but at least Morpeko has a way to hit ground types, being the dark type Aura Wheel, which is really nice.
I wonder if I'm trying to see if this thing gets anything to be able to set up its own attack. Because if it does, it also gets access to Power Trip.
Oh, I did not know that. I don't believe it gets anything to boost its own attack. Obviously, it doesn't get Power Up Punch. Aura Wheel's only speed. It does get Nasty Plot. I assume that'll never be a thing, but who knows? Let's see. Fake Out, Ice Fang. Actually, and Fire Fang actually has a pretty decent move pool.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking at it, it's actually a demon in RU right now. Like it just like Adamant Life Orb Aura Wheel just OKOs a lot. Like it hits things very, very hard. And like I said,
Yeah.
the boost in speed is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Um Taunt is cool, Volt Switch, Rapid Spin, Quick Attack. Yeah, I don't see anything that boosts its physical attack, but
which is really
either way,
unfortunate.
it's pretty nice. I mean, if we go against the Magic Bounce user, we could click Swagger, which will then get bounced back onto us, and then we'll have +2. But
Ooh.
that's all. Yeah. Who's the... Oh, crap. Cut that out. We don't... They don't want to know our strats. Can't let them know our strats.
Another, it does get some setup in like certain aspects. So it does get access to like charge, which is a nice little Spadef boost, and then making the electric aura wheel do 2 times the power, which is pretty cool. So like I could see us having a lot of fun with this thing in certain matchups.
Yeah, no, it definitely has its games where it can put things, it can really do damage to teams.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So now we have 2 spinners. We have a defogger. We have a court changer. So we have decent hazard removal. Like, it's not unbelievable, but it's also not terrible, which is really cool. We have spikes. We have T-spikes. We have 2 pretty reliable stealth rockers. We have decent wall breaking potential. We have good momentum in parting shot, U-turn, baton pass, U-turn. So we have also baton pass on Mr. Rime. But the only thing that we're missing really is a ghost type to be able to try to spin block. And we're missing a tier 5 in this draft. So realistically, this was a pick to help round out the team, but that's about it. It is really fat. Like, really, 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 really fat. And I think that Morpeko plus Dusknoir could be a really good pairing together. Because, like, once you parting shot from Morpeko, on if they're, like, going for a fighting move or a ground move, you drop in Dusknoir, you tank it up, you can Pain Split, you can Shadow Punch, Earthquake. You can do a lot of damage, and Pressure is also a lot of fun on Wi-Fi. And something to help out with the inability to be able to break through certain Pokemon, like Reuniclus. If it's Acid Armor, well, we have Darkest Lariat, and that can help out a little bit. So, I don't think there was too much with Dusknoir. It was just like a ghost type, and we needed a spin blocker.
Yeah, we were at the end of the draft. We could only afford a tier 5. We wanted a ghost type, and Dusknoir was there. It was between this or Dusclops. I know Dusclops might be a little bit better because of the added bulk, but knockoff can be kind of common in draft, which can be kind of annoying. And Dusknoir kind of has like an underrated attack stat. It's base 100. Obviously, it only has Stab Ghost, and the strongest ghost move it gets is like Shadow Punch or something along those lines. We were going to be running.
I think it gets Phantom Force now, doesn't it?
Let me see. No, it does not.
Really? That's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, it's like, let's see. Yeah, physical ghost options: Shadow Sneak, Shadow Punch, Astonish. So
nice and Astonish.
There's that. But it does have some nice little options. It's very, very bulky, very unlikely to go down in one hit. It doesn't exactly get initiative like a lot of our other Pokemon, but it does get access to Memento, which, we Memento something, drop their attack stats, and then go into Sirfetch'd or Diggersby. Potential opportunity to set up or just kill something. Does get access to Calm Mind. Maybe the opponent doesn't have a normal resist. Calm Mind up, Mono Shadow Ball, shenanigans, something like that.
Haze is also actually really cool.
Haze is really nice that I did not realize it got until that moment, but it actually has a decent physical move pool. Like I said, it has obviously the Shadow Sneak, Stab, and then it has access to Brick Break, Darkest Lariat if something's setting up their defenses. Has access to Earthquake, Fire Punch, which is really nice. Ice Punch can be kind of nice. Rock Slide, Power Up Punch if we're running like AV for whatever reason. So there are things that Dusknoir can do. It has the coverage to be able to do damage to things as well as the attack stat, and obviously it's very bulky. It's just, just not the best Pokemon in existence, but it's something.
Yeah, and I think it'll help out our team with rounding everything out. But overall, this is going to be the team of Litten Obliteration for Season 1 of TBL. I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited to miss a bunch of moves and us go like 0-7. I'm so excited for it.
I can't wait. I'm ready.
But guys, with that, let me know down in the comments below what your favorite member of this team is. I think my favorite member of the team is probably either Duraludon or Mr. Rime, to be honest.
I'm pretty excited to use Morpeko.
Yeah.
I just built like an RU team with it. Pretty crazy. What else? I'm excited to use Alcremie. Love that. Same with I like a lot of members on this team.
Yeah.
This whole team looks pretty fun.
Yeah, it'll definitely be unique. But with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Make sure you guys go over to Mono's channel. He will have the week 1 battle on his side. The team builder will be on my side. So make sure you guys go and sub to him so that way you're able to see whenever he uploads the battle on his end. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Any last words, Mono?
Bye.
Bye, I guess. Bye.